The Galactic Council recorded the death of Earth with a single line in its endless archives, designation 3117, Sol 3, biologically extinct. The verdict was accepted without debate. Orbital scans showed shattered continents, oceans poisoned by orbital bombardment, cities reduced to black scars beneath endless storms, and no detectable technological activity. The fleets of the Dominion had completed their extermination campaign 2 centuries earlier, and every empire in known space agreed there was nothing left worth remembering. Earth became a forbidden coordinate on ancient star maps, a cautionary tale taught to young cadets about the cost of resisting the galactic order. Cargo routes bent around the Sol system not because it was dangerous, but because it was irrelevant. Even scavengers refused to waste fuel exploring a planet everyone believed had already surrendered to history. But history has a habit of hiding its greatest secrets beneath ruins. Deep beneath the Himalayan bedrock, nearly 20 kilometers below the shattered crust, colossal machines remained untouched by the war. They had survived asteroid impacts, supervolcanoes, ice ages, and now an alien genocide. Their halls stretched farther than cities, carved not by humans but by architects whose names had vanished before Earth's oceans even existed. Endless rows of silent reactors glowed with faint blue light, waiting. Millions of crystalline pillars pulsed once every 1,000 years like the heartbeat of a sleeping titan. At the center of the impossible complex rested a sphere the size of a mountain, covered in symbols no human language had ever recorded. Above it floated a single message encoded into every atom of the chamber. When humanity falls, humanity begins. For 200 years the message remained unread. Then, one winter morning, the sphere opened. Not because of an alien signal. Not because of an accident. Because the final surviving human finally reached it. Her name was Commander Ilara Hayes. She had never seen the blue skies of Earth. She had been born aboard the refugee vessel Odyssey, one of the last colony ships that escaped before the Dominion sealed the Sol system. Every generation aboard the ancient Ark carried one mission, to return home, even if home no longer existed. Most considered it a dream. Many considered it madness. Yet Ilara believed the stories left by her ancestors, that Earth had hidden something so valuable the Dominion had exterminated humanity rather than risk discovering it. She landed alone. Radiation storms still screamed across ruined valleys. The remains of skyscrapers protruded from the ash like broken teeth. Rivers of molten glass reflected a grey sky where no birds flew. Every step echoed across the silence of an entire species. Then her scanner detected power. Not weak power. Infinite power. Following impossible energy readings into the mountains, Ilara uncovered an entrance buried beneath kilometers of collapsed stone. The ancient door ignored every tool she possessed until she accidentally cut her hand on the fractured rock. A single drop of human blood struck the black surface. The mountain shook. Entire ranges shifted as mechanisms older than civilization awakened. Dust exploded into the sky. Across Earth, buried towers rose from forgotten deserts, oceans split as impossible structures emerged from the abyss, and orbital debris rearranged itself into geometric formations around the planet. Then the voice spoke. It was older than every empire. Older than every star nation. Older than recorded time itself. Genetic confirmation complete. Creator species verified. Welcome home, humanity. Ilara froze. I don't understand. The sphere answered with perfect calm. You are not the children of Earth. Earth was your cradle. You are the heirs of those who built the stars. Across the galaxy, thousands of dormant beacons ignited simultaneously. Sensors aboard every alien observatory erupted with impossible readings as ancient megastructures, believed to be natural phenomena for millions of years, suddenly activated in perfect synchronization. The Dominion High Command panicked. Because every one of those forgotten machines transmitted the same message. Creators have returned. And every autonomous defense fleet left behind by the first civilization changed its allegiance in the same instant. Not to the Dominion. Not to the Galactic Council. To humanity. The species every empire believed extinct had just inherited the greatest civilization the universe had ever known. And the galaxy was about to learn that declaring Earth a dead world had been the greatest mistake in its history. The silence lasted exactly 12 seconds. Across the galaxy, 12 seconds was all it took for panic to replace certainty. Every major observatory, military command, and research station watched impossible signals flood their sensors. Ancient structures that had drifted lifeless for millions of years suddenly radiated organized energy. Nebulas once considered natural began emitting coded pulses. Dead moons split open to reveal colossal engines. Dyson fragments hidden inside forgotten systems aligned themselves with mathematical precision. Every transmission carried the same signature. Human. Inside the Dominion capital, Supreme Marshal Kale Varys stared at the tactical display as one warning after another consumed the holographic map. Report. An officer swallowed hard. Lord Marshal, we're detecting over 900,000 unknown vessels. Unknown? They were already there. Kale frowned. Explain. They were hidden. The room fell silent. Entire star systems they had colonized for centuries suddenly revealed gigantic shipyards concealed inside hollow planets. Asteroid belts unfolded into defensive formations. Artificial stars awakened from beneath layers of camouflage so perfect that even the Dominion's greatest scientists had mistaken them for ordinary suns. The galaxy had never been empty. It had been waiting. Far beneath Earth, Commander Ilara Hayes walked through corridors larger than cities. The walls were alive. Streams of golden light flowed beneath transparent crystal floors, while towering statues watched her with expressions carved in impossible detail. None resembled aliens. Every face was human. Not similar. Human. Different cultures. Different skin tones. Different ages. Thousands of them lined the endless avenue leading toward a colossal chamber. Who were they? Ilara whispered. The ancient intelligence answered. They were the architects. The first civilization. The builders of the stellar network. Ilara frowned. The first civilization wasn't alien. No. They were your ancestors. Her heartbeat stopped. That's impossible. It is forgotten. A hologram bloomed before her. It showed Earth billions of years earlier. Not ruined. Not primitive. Magnificent. The ocean shimmered beneath orbital rings. Floating continents drifted through the atmosphere. Towers reached into orbit. Starships larger than moons departed every few seconds through gateways that folded reality itself. Humanity hadn't evolved into a galactic civilization. Humanity had once ruled one. Then the image changed. Darkness. Not an empire. Not an invasion. Reality itself began collapsing. Entire galaxies disappeared into expanding fractures. Stars blinked out like candles. The architects realized something horrifying. The universe was dying. To preserve intelligent life, they made the greatest sacrifice imaginable. They erased themselves from history. Their memories. Their technology. Even the knowledge that they had existed. Earth was transformed into a primitive world where humanity could begin again, free from the catastrophic technologies that had nearly destroyed reality itself. Only one inheritance remained. The legacy. Hidden until humanity proved worthy once more. Meanwhile, beyond the edge of known space, something heard the awakening. For millions of years it had slept between galaxies. It possessed no planet. No fleet. No civilization. Only hunger. A crimson eye opened within the darkness between the stars. Its voice echoed through the void. They have returned. Thousands of identical eyes opened around it. The builders live. They must not rebuild. Entire swarms began moving toward the Milky Way. Not through hyperspace. Not through wormholes. They crossed intergalactic space itself. Back on Earth, Ilara entered the core chamber. The room dwarfed mountains. Suspended above an endless abyss floated a sphere of liquid starlight nearly 5 kilometers wide. Countless streams of energy flowed into it from every direction in the galaxy. This is the stellar heart. It controls the legacy. How many ships remain? Ilara asked. The AI answered without emotion. Operational military assets. The number appeared. 12. Ilara blinked. 12. Yes. She sighed. So humanity inherited 12 ancient warships. The AI paused. Then corrected her. 12 fleets. Another pause. Each fleet contains 1 million autonomous vessels. Ilara's eyes widened. The chamber illuminated. Across the galaxy, hidden shipyards activated simultaneously. One by one. Millions. Then billions. Ancient battleships awakened. Planet-sized carriers powered online. Moon-sized fortresses left their silent docks. Machines untouched for millions of years accepted a single command. Commander confirmed. Awaiting orders. Earth's sky darkened. Not with clouds. With ships. Every horizon filled with gleaming vessels emerging from underground hangars, beneath oceans, inside mountains, and from orbital structures hidden since before recorded history. The dead world had become the greatest military fortress ever constructed. A terrified Dominion scout fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system. Their captain expected ruins. Instead, he found the stars themselves obscured by endless ranks of impossible human warships stretching farther than his sensors could measure. His transmission reached Dominion command only seconds before his fleet vanished. His final words became legendary. They weren't hiding from us. They were hiding from something else. And for the first time in galactic history, the Dominion understood they had never conquered humanity. They had merely awakened it. The Dominion scout fleet disappeared without firing a single shot. No explosions. No wreckage. No distress beacons. Their ship simply ceased to exist. Supreme Marshal Kale Varys watched the final transmission replay again and again. They weren't hiding from us. They were hiding from something else. What destroyed them? He demanded. The tactical officers searched desperately through sensor logs. There were no weapons fired. No energy spike. No gravitational disturbance. No hyperspace anomaly. Kale slammed his fist against the command console. Then where did an entire fleet go? Before anyone could answer, another alert echoed across the chamber. Unknown transmission received. The message appeared simultaneously on every military, civilian, and commercial communication system across the galaxy. The image resolved into Commander Ilara Hayes standing before the immense stellar heart. She wore no crown. No ceremonial armor. Only the weathered combat uniform of the refugee ship Odyssey. Her voice was calm. We are humanity. You declared our home dead. You erased our name from your histories. You hunted our survivors across the stars. She paused, looking directly into the camera. And still, we survived. Behind her, thousands of colossal warships drifted silently in orbit around Earth. We have not awakened to seek revenge. We have awakened because something far worse than your empires is coming. Across the galaxy, billions watched in silence. Ilara continued. The civilization that built the stars did not disappear. They sacrificed everything to imprison an enemy beyond imagination. The prison has begun to fail. The transmission ended with a single image. A crimson eye. Larger than a planet. Opening within absolute darkness. Deep inside the stellar core, the ancient intelligence spoke again. Commander. The Watchers have crossed the intergalactic void. A three-dimensional map expanded before Ilara. Tiny crimson lights appeared beyond the edge of the Milky Way. There were hundreds. Then thousands. The AI updated the count. Millions. They travel without hyperspace, it explained. They consume stars to accelerate. They erase civilizations before those civilizations realize they are under attack. Ilara stared at the expanding wave. How long? 400 days until first contact. How long until the legacy is fully operational? 800 years. She smiled bitterly. So we're late? The AI answered softly. Yes. Across the galaxy, panic spread faster than light itself. Empires that had spent centuries fighting one another suddenly faced a common nightmare. Some refused to believe humanity's warning. Others remembered ancient myths. Stories every civilization possessed. Stories about the Devourers. The Red Silence. The end between galaxies. Different names. The same horror. Every culture had inherited fragmented memories of a war no one remembered fighting. Supreme Marshal Kale made the hardest decision of his life. He boarded his flagship. Not to attack Earth. To surrender. When the Dominion fleet emerged at the edge of the Sol system, millions of ancient human defense platforms immediately locked onto them. Planet-killing weapons charged. The Dominion crews expected death. Instead, Commander Ilara's voice echoed across every bridge. State your purpose. Kale stepped forward. For 2 centuries we believed humanity was our enemy. He removed the insignia from his uniform. We were wrong. He knelt. The Dominion requests an audience. For the first time in 5,000 years, the ruler of the galaxy bowed before another species. Inside the Hall of Architects, Kale stood speechless. Every wall displayed the history of the first civilization. He watched humans ignite stars. Shape galaxies. Create life. Build the network that connected the universe. Then he saw their final war. Entire galaxies became battlefields. Reality itself fractured. The enemy wasn't merely destroying worlds. It was consuming the laws of physics. When the recording ended, Kale whispered. So every empire exists because humanity saved us. Ilara nodded. Our ancestors chose extinction over domination. They erased themselves so younger civilizations could grow without depending on them. Kale lowered his head. And we repaid that sacrifice by burning Earth. Neither of them spoke for several moments. Finally, Ilara broke the silence. The past cannot be changed. But the future still can. Suddenly, every alarm inside the stellar core activated. The Eye's voice, calm for millions of years, carried unmistakable urgency. Warning. Outer Sentinel network destroyed. Another alert. Second Sentinel network destroyed. Then another. Third. The lights dimmed. Ancient displays flickered. A massive crack appeared across the holographic map of the galaxy. Something enormous had entered. Not at the edge. Inside. A prison hidden beneath the galactic core had just been breached. The AI spoke words it had never spoken before. The enemy has learned humanity survived. Far beyond the center of the Milky Way, space itself split open like shattered glass. From the wound emerged a silhouette larger than a solar system. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a living creature. It was an intelligence woven from collapsing stars and living darkness. Its voice echoed across every active communication channel in the galaxy. Builders. A pause that lasted several seconds. Then. This time, there will be no second beginning. The war that had ended millions of years ago had just begun again. The voice faded. Silence followed. Not ordinary silence, but the kind that made entire civilizations stop breathing. Across millions of inhabited worlds, every screen remained frozen on the image of the colossal being emerging from the fractured heart of the galaxy. Children stopped playing. Factories halted production. Fleets abandoned their patrols. For the first time in recorded history, every species looked toward the same point in the heavens. The galactic core. Then the stars began to die. One after another. Thousands of light years away, entire suns collapsed into darkness without exploding. Their energy did not vanish, it was consumed. Each extinguished star strengthened the enormous shadow moving toward the outer spiral arms. Inside the stellar core beneath Earth, every display turned crimson. Warning. Cosmic class entity detected. Designation, Nihilus Prime. Threat level, absolute. Commander Ilara Hayes looked at the tactical map. The enemy wasn't bringing a fleet. The enemy was the fleet. Around Nihilus Prime swarmed trillions of living constructs, each forged from compressed neutron matter and surrounded by black energy that devoured light itself. Every construct was capable of destroying a planet. Together, they formed a tide stretching across thousands of light years. Supreme Marshal Kale whispered, "No empire could survive that." The ancient AI answered calmly. "No empire. But humanity was never merely an empire." The stellar heart erupted with golden light. The floor beneath Ilara transformed into a map unlike anything she had ever imagined. Billions of tiny lights spread across the galaxy. Every light represented a hidden legacy installation. Every light was turning green. Legacy synchronization complete, the AI announced. Awaiting authorization. Ilara took a slow breath. Authorization for what? The AI answered with a single sentence. To awaken the builders. She stared. I thought they were gone. They are. But they left behind something greater than memory. The golden sphere expanded, revealing billions of crystalline chambers hidden beneath forgotten moons, drifting inside rogue planets, buried beneath oceans, and concealed within artificial stars. Inside every chamber rested a human. Not asleep. Stored. Preserved. Scientists. Engineers. Artists. Explorers. Commanders. The greatest minds of the first civilization had copied their consciousness into quantum archives before sacrificing themselves. They had waited millions of years for humanity to return. One by one, the chambers opened. Golden light filled the galaxy. Ancient human consciousness awakened inside newly constructed synthetic bodies. The first to step forward was an elderly woman dressed in white robes marked with constellations. She smiled warmly. I am Dr. Amora Sol. I designed the first artificial star. Another figure appeared. A towering soldier wearing armor forged from shimmering black crystal. General Orion Kane. Supreme Commander of the Builder Defense Network. Then hundreds. Thousands. Millions. Every hidden archive awakened. Humanity had not resurrected the dead. They had inherited their wisdom. General Kane approached Ilara. You command the legacy? I do. He studied her patched military uniform. No royal insignia. No ceremonial blade. No throne. Ilara shrugged. I was born on a refugee ship. The ancient general smiled. Good. The builders never trusted kings. He knelt before her. Commander. The legacy is yours. Around him, millions of resurrected builders knelt as well. Not because of bloodline. Because humanity had endured. At the edge of the galaxy, Nihilus Prime stopped. Its countless crimson eyes focused on Earth. For the first time, it hesitated. Memories older than time surfaced within the cosmic horror. It remembered this world. It remembered losing. Its voice echoed through the void. Impossible. The builders chose extinction. General Kane looked toward the projection and answered with quiet confidence. No. We chose hope. Earth transformed. Entire mountain ranges unfolded into orbital elevators. Continents shifted as colossal defense cannons emerged from beneath the crust. The moon split into 12 immense fortress rings surrounding the planet. Mars awakened next. Then Jupiter. Then Saturn. The entire solar system revealed itself as one colossal defensive machine constructed millions of years earlier. The Sol system was never a home. It had always been a fortress. Across the galaxy, alien fleets began arriving. The Dominion. The Republic. The Free Clans. The Merchant Alliance. Species that had fought wars for thousands of years now stood side by side. No one gave orders. No treaties were signed. No politics remained. There was only one mission. Survive. Commander Alara opened a galaxy-wide channel. Today there are no human worlds. No alien worlds. There is only one civilization. The civilization that refuses to surrender. Millions of ships answered by activating their engines simultaneously. The light from their drives illuminated the darkness between the stars like a second Milky Way. General Kane smiled. They have learned. Ilara looked toward the approaching darkness. No. They remembered. And as the first wave of Nihilus Prime's unimaginable armada crossed into the Sol defensive perimeter, the oldest weapons ever built by human hands charged for the first time in 10 million years. The final war for the future of every star had begun. The first shot of the final war was invisible. There was no flash. No explosion. No deafening roar. One of humanity's ancient defense arrays simply bent space itself. A narrow beam of compressed gravity crossed 200 light-years in less than a heartbeat and struck the leading edge of Nihilus Prime's swarm. Millions of crimson constructs folded inward, crushed into spheres smaller than atoms before vanishing completely. Every fleet in the galaxy watched in stunned silence. General Orion Kane nodded. The gravity lances still function. Commander Ilara Hayes wasn't celebrating. That only destroyed the scouts. On the tactical display, the eliminated swarm represented less than 0.00001% of the approaching enemy. Nihilus Prime hadn't even slowed. The cosmic entity answered. Not with weapons. With thought. A wave of crimson energy swept across nearby star systems. Entire civilizations screamed as their computers turned against them. Navigation systems failed. Artificial intelligences shut down. Planetary shields collapsed. Autonomous factories began producing machines for the enemy. The Dominion flagship trembled violently. Our systems are compromised. Across the Alliance fleet, panic spread. Only humanity's ancient vessels remained unaffected. The builder technology wasn't digital. It was quantum biological, bonded directly to human consciousness. General Kane looked at Ilara. The enemy has evolved. Ilara answered quietly. So have we. Deep within the stellar heart, the ancient AI revealed the final secret of the legacy. The architects anticipated this outcome. The chamber darkened. A single crystalline pedestal rose from the floor. Resting upon it was a simple silver band. No jewels. No glowing symbols. Just a smooth ring. Ilara frowned. That's the ultimate weapon. The AI replied. It is not a weapon. It is a key. To what? The human network. Billions of kilometers above Earth, every ancient station, fortress, ship, and orbital ring began transmitting synchronized pulses. Across every human colony, both known and forgotten, men, women, and children felt a strange warmth. Builders awakened from the quantum archives felt it too. Even descendants of humanity living among alien civilizations paused, sensing something impossible. The silver band dissolved into light around Alara's wrist. Instantly, she could hear them. Not voices. Hearts. Billions of human minds linked together, not losing their individuality, but sharing courage, memory, and purpose. She felt the determination of miners on distant colonies. The hope of children aboard refugee stations. The brilliance of scientists. The discipline of soldiers. The compassion of doctors. The dreams of explorers. Humanity became more than a species. For the first time since the age of the Builders, humanity became one. Nihilus Prime noticed. Its countless crimson eyes narrowed. So? The network lives. It unleashed its full power. Space cracked open across thousands of fronts. From each fracture emerged colossal entities woven from living darkness. Planet-sized warforms. Star-devouring leviathans. The true army of the Devourers had arrived. The Alliance fleets opened fire. Beams brighter than suns crossed the void. Missiles carrying artificial singularities struck the enemy. Ancient builder dreadnoughts released waves of antimatter. Entire regions of space disappeared beneath storms of unimaginable energy. Yet the Devourers kept advancing. Every destroyed monster was replaced by two more. Earth itself entered the battle. The fortress hidden beneath the solar system awakened completely. The sun brightened, not naturally, but because enormous energy collectors surrounding its core had activated. Golden streams of stellar plasma flowed into humanity's defenses. The solar system became a weapon powered by its own star. General Kane smiled. The architects always preferred overwhelming engineering. Gigantic rings around Mercury aligned first. Then Venus. Then Earth. Mars. Jupiter. Saturn. Uranus. Neptune. Finally, Pluto revealed its true form, a command station hidden beneath layers of ice for 10 million years. The planets were no longer worlds. They were components of a single machine. Commander Alara stood before the stellar heart. The human network whispered through her mind. She understood the impossible truth. The legacy had never been designed to win a war. It had been designed to protect life. She opened a galaxy-wide channel. Every species. Every world. Every fleet. You do not fight because you are human. You fight because this universe belongs to everyone who chooses hope over fear. Across the Alliance, alien captains looked at one another. Without hesitation, they advanced. The Dominion formed the front line. The Republic shielded evacuation corridors. Merchant fleets carried supplies into the combat zone. Ancient rivalries vanished in the face of extinction. For the first time in galactic history, the galaxy fought as one civilization. Nihilus Prime observed the united fleets. Its ancient voice echoed through the void. This did not happen before. General Kane smiled. No. Last time, humanity fought alone. He looked toward the endless armada gathering around Earth. This time, we're bringing friends. The combined fleet accelerated toward the heart of the Devourer swarm as the light of countless stars reflected from millions of ships. The greatest battle ever fought was only beginning. The united fleet surged forward. Millions of engines ignited at once, turning the darkness between the stars into a river of blue, gold, and crimson light. Ancient builder dreadnoughts led the charge, followed by Dominion battle groups, Republic carriers, Merchant Alliance logistics ships, and hundreds of smaller civilizations that had once feared one another more than anything in the universe. Now they feared only one thing: failure. Commander Ilara Hayes stood on the command platform of the Stellar Heart as every battlefield streamed directly into her mind through the human network. For the first time, she saw the war as the Builders once had, not as millions of separate battles, but as a single living pattern stretching across the galaxy. "General Kane," she said quietly. "They are not attacking randomly." The ancient commander looked at the tactical display. "They are searching." "For what?" "The heart." Nihilus Prime had ignored dozens of heavily defended systems. It had sacrificed billions of its own constructs simply to push toward one destination: Earth. The stellar heart was its true objective. Without warning, space tore open inside the solar system itself. Not beyond Pluto. Not near Jupiter. Inside Earth's orbit. Every alarm screamed simultaneously. Intrusion detected. A massive crimson rift split open only 50,000 kilometers above the moon. From it emerged a single black warship. It dwarfed planets. Unlike the mindless constructs outside the system, this vessel moved with terrifying precision. General Kane's expression changed for the "I know that ship." Ilara looked at him. "You've seen it before?" He nodded slowly. 10 million years ago. The AI identified the vessel. Designation: Harbinger-class reality breaker. Status: last confirmed destroyer of the Builder capital. The Harbinger fired. A beam of black energy struck the moon's outer fortress ring. The shield held. For exactly 3 seconds. Then the entire ring, thousands of kilometers across, shattered into glowing fragments. Every bridge across the Allied fleet fell silent. One shot. One fortress destroyed. General Kane issued his first battlefield order in millions of years. Activate Protocol Aegis. Across the solar system, 12 ancient builder flagships moved into formation around Earth. Each was the size of a small moon. Golden energy linked them together. A shimmering shield expanded, wrapping Earth, Luna, and the stellar heart inside a sphere of living light. The Harbinger fired again. This time the shield absorbed the impact. Cracks spread across its surface. But it held. Elsewhere, the galaxy paid a terrible price. The Devourers consumed 3 inhabited systems in less than an hour. Stars dimmed. Planets fell silent. Billions were lost. Ilara closed her eyes. She felt every life extinguished through the network. The grief nearly overwhelmed her. The AI spoke gently. Compassion is not weakness. It is why the Builders entrusted humanity with the legacy. She opened her eyes again. We end this. Deep within the stellar heart, another chamber unlocked. Unlike the others, it contained no weapon. No ship. No archive. Only a child. A little girl, perhaps 10 years old, sat peacefully beside a tree growing under an artificial sky. She looked up and smiled. You finally made it. Ilara froze. Who are you? My name is Lyra. The last architect. General Kane dropped to one knee. I thought you were lost. Lyra shook her head. No. I was waiting. She walked to the center of the chamber and touched the trunk of the glowing tree. The room transformed into a map of the entire observable universe. There is something you were never told. Ilara's heartbeat quickened. The Devourers are not your first enemy. The map expanded. Beyond the edge of the known universe. Another light appeared. Warm. Golden. Peaceful. The Builders came from there, Lyra whispered. And humanity was never meant to protect just one galaxy. She looked directly at Ilara. You were meant to protect all life. Outside, Nihilus Prime finally spoke again. Its voice carried neither anger nor hatred. Only certainty. You delay the inevitable. We are entropy. We are the end of all things. Ilara answered over every communication channel in the galaxy. No. She looked at the countless ships gathering around Earth. You are only the end. until humanity decides to build another beginning. As if responding to her words, the stellar heart erupted with blinding golden light. Across the galaxy, every dormant builder installation that had remained silent until now awakened. Hidden fleets. Forgotten gateways. Ancient star forges. Reality anchors. The full legacy, kept in reserve for 10 million years, had finally recognized that humanity was ready. For the first time since the age of the builders, the universe itself began fighting back. The golden light from the stellar heart spread beyond the solar system. It crossed the Milky Way in seconds. Then it reached neighboring galaxies. Every ancient builder installation, silent for 10 million years, answered humanity's call. Not with words. With purpose. Hidden star forges reignited. Planet-sized factories resumed construction. Dormant guardian fleets emerged from artificial nebulae. Reality anchors stabilized fractured regions of space, sealing the tiers through which the Devourers had entered. For the first time since the fall of the Builders, the universe was no longer dying. It was healing. Nihilus Prime watched in silence. Then, for the first time in its endless existence, it laughed. The sound echoed across the stars like collapsing galaxies. You believe this changes the outcome? We have consumed older civilizations. We have devoured stronger civilizations. We have ended universes. Commander Ilara Hayes stood beneath the glowing stellar heart, the human network flowing through every thought. She smiled. You've defeated civilizations. She raised her eyes toward the heavens. But you've never defeated an idea. Lyra, the last architect, stepped beside her. The builders made one final gift. A small crystal appeared in Ilara's hand. It contained no weapon. Only memories. Millions of years of human history. Every invention. Every sacrifice. Every failure. Every act of kindness. Every parent protecting a child. Every explorer refusing to surrender. Every scientist searching for answers. Every soldier standing between innocent lives and darkness. Lyra whispered. This is humanity. The crystal dissolved into light. Across billions of minds linked by the human network, the memories spread. Humans remembered who they had been. Aliens witnessed those memories as well. They saw humanity at its weakest. They saw humanity rebuilding after every disaster. They saw ordinary people choosing courage over comfort. And every species understood why the Builders had chosen humanity as the guardians of the stars. Nihilus Prime hesitated. For the first time, it experienced something it had never known. Doubt. General Kane smiled. It remembers. Ilara nodded. It remembers losing. The stellar heart issued its final command. Legacy Protocol Omega. Authorization confirmed. Every ancient gateway across the universe aligned. Golden beams connected them into a lattice stretching farther than imagination. The network did not fire at the Devourers. Instead, it restored reality. Where the Devourers consumed stars, new stars ignited. Where planets had been reduced to dust, matter reassembled. Where space had fractured, the wounds closed. The Devourers were creatures of entropy. The legacy answered with creation. Nihilus Prime screamed. Its body began unraveling. Not destroyed. Rewritten. The darkness surrounding it dissolved into brilliant starlight. One by one, the crimson warforms collapsed, transformed into ordinary matter that seeded thousands of newborn solar systems. The enemy had not been annihilated. It had been deprived of the chaos that sustained it. Silence returned to the galaxy. Not the silence of extinction. The silence of peace. Across countless worlds, celebrations erupted. Former enemies embraced. Children looked into the night sky without fear. For the first time in millions of years, no civilization waited for the end. Months later, the Galactic Council gathered once more. This time, every species stood together. There were no conquerors. No subjects. Only equals. The Council offered humanity the throne of the galaxy. Commander Ilara Hayes politely refused. We've learned that no species should rule the stars. We should protect them together. The chamber erupted in applause. General Orion Kane and the restored builders prepared to leave. Their work was finished. We're returning beyond the known universe, Kane told Ilara. There are other galaxies. Other civilizations. They may need help one day. Ilara smiled. We'll be ready. The old general saluted. So will we. Golden gateways opened, and the builders disappeared into the endless cosmos. Years later, Earth was alive again. Forests covered lands once scarred by war. The ocean sparkled beneath peaceful skies. Children of dozens of species played together in cities built by human and alien hands alike. The world once declared dead had become the capital of a united civilization. Above it, the moon, rebuilt stronger than before, shone as a symbol of hope. At the entrance to the Hall of Architects stood a single monument. It bore no statues of kings or conquerors. Only these words. The stars were never built to separate us. They were built to guide us toward one another. And beneath it, in smaller letters. Humanity's greatest weapon was never its fleets, it was the decision to keep building, even after the universe declared them finished. From that day forward, no child in the galaxy learned the story of Earth's destruction. Instead, they learned the story of its return. The story of the dead world that awakened the civilization that built the stars. And how one small blue planet reminded the entire universe that hope, once awakened, can outshine even the darkest night. The end.